Hello, in this video we'll take a look at the content in Unit 4, Activity 1. And since this is the beginning of Unit 4, our last unit of the semester, just to give you an overview, we're going to focus on opinion writing in this unit. And if you go back and you look at Units 1, 2, and 3, you'll notice that so far in this course we've focused on factual or information writing. So we've looked at information paragraphs, summaries, and news reports. So this will be your first real chance to write your own opinions in all of the activities and all of the assignments in Unit 4 here. And so to start with, I'd like to emphasize something. When you're writing your opinion, you of course are stating your personal views on something. But you can't really write a good opinion unless you support it. And we're going to focus on that idea. An opinion is not just what you think about something. It's what you think about something, but then you need evidence to back it up. And so that's what I want to really emphasize to start with. In any of the assignments that I give you in this unit, make sure you're giving me your opinion, and as you'll see, you want to state your opinion at the beginning of your writing, but then you do need to back it up with specific examples, with evidence to prove yourself, okay? With that said, if we move down into the action here, everything we're going to look at in Activity 1 here is going to revolve around education. So we're going to look at different opinions related to education around the world. And in this first example of an opinion piece on education, you're going to look at an essay that's going to try to talk about how girls around the world do not necessarily receive proper education or an equal education to boys. And so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to read through this opinion piece on education. And as you read through it, take note of the different sections that are in color. So for example here, we've got this section here has been highlighted in yellow. If you click on any of the colored sections in this opinion piece, like for example, if I click right here, it will tell you what that part of the writing is. And so for example, this is the opinion statement, or kind of the summary of the writer's opinion. And you'll notice that it comes in the introduction paragraph here, or at the beginning of the writing assignment here. As you continue on, you'll see the different parts, the first body paragraph. You'll see, for example, the use of facts to support an opinion. And then if you go all the way down, for example, to the conclusion here, they'll explain that you need to restate your opinion in the conclusion. So when you go through this piece, I want to use this as an example of what an opinion piece looks like. And I want you to become familiar with all of the different parts that you'll have to include when you write your own opinions. All right. With that said, you'll notice something important here, that the authors of this essay up here, they did not what we call sit on the fence. They didn't try to give two sides or two opinions on the issue. They stuck to one opinion, and that's something that you're going to have to do throughout this semester. You're going to have to stick to one opinion in each one of your assignments. You don't want to give both sides. Okay? All right, main ideas and supporting details. It's something we've talked about throughout the entire semester, and it's still important to be able to identify main ideas and supporting details in opinion writing. And you have an example here of a fishbone diagram. If I open that, it looks like this. And in this fishbone diagram, we'll take the article that you just read on girls and education, and it will establish the main idea, and then it will establish the points, and then all of the evidence that was used to support each one of the points. So this is a neat little way that you can sort of illustrate or use a graphic text to show how an opinion piece is put together. So you've got a main idea or an opinion, you've got specific supporting points, in this case 4 specific supporting points, and then evidence, supporting detail to back up each one of those points. And that's something you're going to have to try to do when you write your own opinions. All right, with that said, we've got a little bit more information on education, and in this case we're going to look at education in Canada. And sometimes here in Canada we like to think that that we've got a great education system, and in some ways we do, but we still have our own problems with education here in Canada. And you'll take a look here at a few articles. You've got a Wikipedia page on Shannon's Dream, and you'll find out who Shannon was. She was an Indigenous girl in Canada that fought for equal education for Indigenous youth in Canada. And so you'll be able to read her story here on Wikipedia. You'll be able to read another article on her right here, and then you'll be able to watch a really good documentary on Shannon and her dream and her goal for education equality for Indigenous peoples in Canada. If you click on any of the articles, it'll open up in the wide screen here, so you can see the Wikipedia one, you can see the second article, and then you can watch the video as well too. So again, this is additional information on education equality. You're going to have to write an opinion about education at the ending of this activity. So the more information that you can take in on education equality, the better off you'll be when you write your own opinion. All right, if we continue on, we're going to look at graphic texts now. So we've looked at opinions in writing, we've looked at opinions in a video here, and now we'll look at opinions being presented and supported in a graphic text form. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to read this article right here called Despite Progress, Millions Without Access to Education. So you're going to read this article here, and so it starts with a written article, and then it finishes with a bar graph, a graphic text that connects with the written portion of the article here to fully support and explain the author's opinion. All right, so take a look at the article here, and then take a particularly close look at the graphic text here, because you're going to have to answer reading response questions on that article and graphic text. And so you're going to be asked to review the Despite Progress, Millions Without Access to Education article and answer the following, well, it shouldn't say 10 questions, it should say 8. I'll change that. There's 8 questions here to answer. So the reading response questions here in this activity are structured a little differently. You're used to answering 3 questions. In this case, I'm going to ask you to answer 8. So you can just copy and paste these questions, as you normally would, into a Google Doc or into a Microsoft Word document and answer them. The first 5 questions, you should be able to get your answers directly from this bar graph here. The challenge here is to show me that you can read not only an article in writing, but also a graphic text. So for the first 5 questions, just find the answers and show me that you understand this graphic text. For the final 3 questions, those questions are going to be much more like the reading response questions that you're used to. So you're going to be asked to identify the main idea, the target audience, and you're going to be asked to compare the article that you've just read here with the article that you read at the top of the page, called A Full Secondary Education Must Become the Ordinary Expectation of Every Girl in the World. So you're going to compare the 2 articles you read on education. Once you've completed the questions, as always, hit the Submit Your Work and submit your answers to the Dropbox. We're not quite done yet. There's one more part of this activity. There's going to be portfolio entry number 6 in the consolidation part of the activity, and I'm going to ask you your opinion on education and poverty, which is something that's discussed throughout this activity in the video and in the articles that you've taken a look at. So it says all of the material in this activity deal with access to education. Specific groups who have been denied adequate access to education were identified. It is often said that access to education is essential because it is the best way to get people out of poverty. Do you agree? So do you think, and this right here is what you're going to focus on here, is education the best way to get out of poverty? So people that are struggling and families that don't have a lot, is the best way to get out of poverty to get their children an adequate education? Or do you think there are other factors which play a bigger role in getting people out of poverty? So are there other reasons and other factors that you think are more important than education in terms of helping people get out of poverty and become more successful? So use specific examples from your own personal experiences if you like, or from the real world to support your opinion. If you like, you can use some examples from what you've learned about the real world in this activity through this article, or through the video and articles on Shannon's dream, or through this article you've read here about millions not having access to education. So feel free to use material from the activity if you like to support yourself. But please don't research these questions outside of the course. I do not want outside research. I want your opinion. Pardon me. I want your opinion, as I say here. Use your own words and ideas. Do not include material from outside the course website. And as always, for the portfolio entries, I'm asking for at least 8 sentences. And I'm reminding you, you're not submitting your portfolio entry right now. You're going to save it with your other portfolio entries that you've already written, and you should already have 5, and you're going to submit them all at the ending of the semester in Unit 5. If you have any questions about the activity, especially about the 2 assignments, the reading response questions or the portfolio entry, please let me know.